right, welcome back, Lincoln, Cooley Montessori, and Soda 2. Depending on when you're watching this, this might be one of the first videos you're watching or one of the last videos you're watching. But this video in particular is going to go over arrival and dismissal. If you're looking for other information or other videos about coming back to face-to-face learning at Lincoln, those videos can be found on our school district website, or you can ask any of the adults and we can help you get connected with those too. So anyway, back to arrival and dismissal. We are going to go over a few different points and we're going to talk about what that's going to look like for everybody. There's a few key things that everyone's going to share, and then we're going to break this down into grade specific content. So we're going to talk about what's going to happen for 7th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade, and charters, because they're all going to be a little bit different, and we're going to talk about that and break that down for you so you don't have to listen to all this information over and over again that might not really pertain to you or address some of your concerns. So the big thing to know is that if you come to school before 7:30 in the morning, you will not be able to come into the building. We're going to have something called staging areas or kind of gathering areas, and those are where each grade is going to go, and then those grades are going to be further broken down by teams. And as we've talked about before, teams are kind of your class that you will be going with. So there's a couple of maps and some graphics I'm going to show, but that's the main thing, and the big takeaway is that before 7:30, you will not be able to enter the building. No students will be able to enter the building. Adult supervision will be available at these gathering locations at 7:15 in the morning. So if you come before 7:15 in the morning, there won't be that adult supervision. So please do not come to school before 7:15. And if you come between 7:15 and 7:30, you'll have to wait in these gathering areas, and they are all located outside. So if you'd like to come closer to 7:30, that might be a good option. If you come after 7:30, the big takeaway with this too is you will have to enter through the main entrance doors, and we'll go over that in each of your a little bit later in this video too. I'm going to show you a quick overview of what this all looks like. So this map shows where everyone's going to be getting dropped off and what that looks like for everybody. But like I said, we're going to go break this down by grade level and for charters, and we're going to talk about specifically what your plan is going to be right now. All right, welcome 7th grade. So we are going to talk a little bit more about what it's going to look like for 7th grade when they are entering the building. So 7th grade, when you are coming into the building, you will have what we're going to be calling a staging area. So this staging area will mean that this is where you are going to gather and where you are going to start out your day. And the important thing to remember with this is we're talking about when you come to the building and come to school before 7:30 in the morning. So if you're coming to school before 7:30 in the morning, this is where you're going to gather and where you're going to be. Your gathering and staging area is on the playground, and it's going to be on the blacktop. We would love to use the AstroTurf or the fake turf, but we are not able to use it because it's kind of covered in snow, and that gets a little bit tricky for kids to gather and start out there. You will have areas marked off by cones and with other markers and signs. There will also be staff out there to let you know where you need to go. We will be separated by teams, and teams is, again, a kind of that fancy word we're using to describe which class you're going to be with. So team 1 will be a team that you stick with throughout the whole rest of the school day, and you won't mix teams because we need to keep everybody separated to keep people safe. So you will come in through Division Street, and that's your drop-off zone. You'll get dropped off on Division Street. You'll come in through the Division Street entrance, and then you will go to your staging area further down on the blacktop. 6th grade is going to be below you. They're not listed here on this map, but you can see them on that whole group map, or you can look at 6th grade specifically if you have questions about that. So you come into your staging area, you will wait there until 7:30, and then your first hour teachers will come through the 7th grade entrance and start dismissing you one team at a time. And they will have you walk single file into the building and to your first hour class. Really important thing to remember, as soon as you get on school property, This is including when you are on the playground. You need to have your mask on. So you need to wear your mask, make sure that you have it on the right way, covering your nose and your mouth. And that's what you have to have on every time you're on school property. Even if you're not in the building, you have to have it on. So you'll put on your mask, you'll go into your staging area, you'll stay socially distanced, keep 6 feet apart from each other. And then when it is time, when it's 7:30, your teachers, your first hour teachers will come and gather you one team at a time. The door you will be going in is the bike rack doors. So the teachers will bring you in through those doors and you will go to your first hour class. The one thing to remember, we said everyone is getting dropped off on Division Street. It is important that you get dropped off there if you're coming in on a car. If you're walking to school, you will walk to Division Street. If you get dropped off by the buses are dropping off on Ferry Street, which is at the bottom of the map. When you get dropped off on Ferry Street, a thing to remember this year, typically, if you get dropped off by the bus, you would go in through the cafeteria doors. This year, we are not having anybody enter through the cafeteria doors. So that is just something to know. You will still have to walk around and go to Division Street and enter through the Division Street entrance. You can't enter through 8th Street because that's where 6th grade is going to be. So you need to come through the Division Street entrance and get to where you need to be. This is all going to be outside, and there will not be supervision, like we said, before 7:15. So please do not come to school before 7:15. But if you do, this is where you're going to start heading to, and we will have adults out there to help guide you and supervise everyone at 7:15. If you come to the building after 7:30, you will have to enter through the main entrance. And this is what all students will be doing that enter and get to the building after 7:30. So before 7:30, you will go to your staging area. After 7:30, you will go to the main entrance to enter the building. The other thing to kind of know is that we will have, this is all outside, and we recognize that there might be some days where it's going to be too cold or rainy or just not safe for kids to be outside. We will have a staging location for you inside if you come to school before 7:30, and we will talk about that right now. All right, so that was how you enter the building based on your grade level. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about leaving the building. And leaving the building is a lot less complicated because all we have to do is follow your teacher to the fire exit. So you don't need to know where the fire exit is. Teachers are going to know where they need to drop you off and where they're taking you. The biggest thing that's going to have to happen here is that you have to stay in a single file line. You have to stay socially distanced, and you have to be wearing your mask. So when you're leaving the building, and if you are using a school mask, when you get to the exit, get to the door where you're about to leave the building and get off of the grounds of the building, then you will hand over your mask to the teacher so they can put it in the laundry bag and make sure that it gets taken care of. One of the big things with all of this is when you are on school property, you really need to have your mask on. Wearing your mask out in public and anywhere, whether you believe it or not, there is a lot of research that talks about it. And it's something that we're really focused on in this school. And we want to make sure that people are using it because there is a lot that suggests that it is very helpful and beneficial. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we can keep everybody safe. So it is very important that you're wearing your mask at all times, even when you are in the staging areas like we talked about before. So exiting the building, as you're leaving, right before you're about to leave the building, you'll hand over your mask and give it to your teacher. Then you should be on your way either to where you're getting picked up, and that would be the same as those drop-off areas that we talked about, and or getting on the bus or walking home. So whichever way you're going, you kind of need to keep moving off of school grounds and not loiter and kind of hang around in those spots, because that can be unsafe too, and we don't have enough people to continue to watch and supervise to make sure that you are being socially distanced and following all the protocols that we have at school. So please do what you need to be doing. We don't want to have to come up with separate individual plans for people. So as soon as we're done with school, it is time for you to go home and or go to wherever else you need to go for the afternoon. That talks about leaving, and then we are going to talk a little bit about inclement or bad weather. All right. So we talked a little bit about entering and exiting the building and what that's going to look like. We did say that there is going to be a plan for bad weather or inclement weather, and what that's going to look like and what that means is bad weather is when it's not safe for students to be outside. So if it's too cold or if it's really snowy and rainy out, then we are going to find a spot for students to go. So that will not be outside. And again, this is for where you will be going if it is before 7:20 in the morning. Seventh grade and eighth grade, you will be in some different, you will be in the auditorium, and you will be kind of sharing the same space, but we will have it set up where you can be socially distanced in those spaces. Eighth grade will be split up between the bottom of the auditorium and the balcony, but we will talk a little bit more about that in just a little bit. First, we're going to talk about seventh grade and where they need to go. So seventh grade is going to be split up between the stage and the first half of the seats in the auditorium. Again, this will all be marked, and you will have signs out to show you where you need to go and which team goes where. But team 3 and team 4, you'll be in those first set of seats in the front of the auditorium. Again, there will be markers out to show you where you need to go and where the end of those boundary areas are for your team. There will be places for you to sit. It is important that we stay socially distanced and are wearing our masks while we're in these locations. For Team 4 and Team 3 of 8th grade, you will be meeting in the back of the auditorium, and you will have your own spots back there where you can sit and stay socially distanced. Same procedures, make sure you're wearing masks and you are staying socially distanced. The one thing I'll talk about is where you will be leaving and which doors you will be leaving. So team 1 and team 3 of 7th grade, you will be leaving through the exits or the doors closest to the cafeteria. Teachers, again, will come and dismiss you, your first hour teacher. They'll come get you and bring you to class. You'll go one team or one class at a time. Team 2 and Team 4 of 7th grade, you will be leaving through the doors closest to the computer lab, and the LMC is also kind of on that side too. So you will be leaving over on those doors. Teachers will come, they will dismiss you, they will walk you out.